Okay, can you hear me?
There you go.
Oh,
Success. Assalamu alaikum to you and whoever else is in that room helping you.
that's my daughter. Walaikum salam. That's
Okay.
Ameenah.
All right. All right.
Okay.
Greetings. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. How's the family?
Everybody here is fine.
Alhamdulillah.
They're wondering where I've been all day. I've been on webinars all day long.
Alhamdulillah.
uh So let's get this linguistic party started.
Okay.
Ready to learn a little something?
Yes, I have a little paper here.
All right. Now, is there anything in particular that you wanted to focus on, or any word, or anything that I've gone over, the letters or whatever?
I'm really gonna have to catch up on those letters, but there's a question I have. Something that Khan says about Allah. I wrote down. I'm paraphrasing. Allah
Hmm.
answers the call of everyone. But do we hear his call?
Yeah.
They used to hear the saying, they would say, well, he's not gonna answer your call right away, or he'll
Hmm.
answer you in the next
Hmm.
life, and these type of things like that. So I just was wondering, what the Quran says about that.
Good question. It's going to be in Surah 2, Ayat 186, just in case you're able to pull that up. If not, we're going to go over it.
I'll check it out later. I'll check it out. I'm gonna listen.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
So what I'm going to speak about first are first things. And first things in terms of reading the Quran, especially, are given in the phrase Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, as you know. You've been saying that for as long as you've been Muslim, correct?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. And all Muslims around the world, 2.3 billion of us have been saying that every day, all day long for 1400 years already. But not a whole lot of people have been given insight into how to break that phrase down so that you get the best out of what Allah is saying in using that strip of words. Okay.
Mhm.
And they say that it's for when you open up the Quran, before you start reading the Quran, you should pronounce Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And they say that you should begin all things in Allah's name. Now, that phrase has been translated in the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. I'm sure you've seen at least 6 or 7 different ways that people have translated that, right?
Mhm.
In the
Yeah.
name of Allah, with Allah's name, which one of these are correct, or are all of them correct? So I'm going to say that, and then I'm going to segue into Surah 2, Ayat 186 for you.
Okay.
All right. Be patient with me.
Mhm.
I'm a slow teacher.
Um, yeah, good teacher. Uh,
Mhm. And if you have any question along the way, that's the purpose of these one-on-ones. You can stop me.
mhm.
Say, man, I'm an instructor. I have a question about what you just said, or something you said before that's just coming to me. I need to know. I need to know. That's what this is
Mhm.
for. Okay.
Okay. Mhm.
And we can do this once a week if you want, once a month, twice a month. You're one of my longest learners. You're actually an instructor. You just don't,
No.
you weren't there when I gave out the the certificates. You've been here long enough,
Uh,
theoretically, not straight shot, but off and on, off and off, off and on.
yeah.
Listen, you've been with me since I was living in New York. I know that's at least six,
Yeah, at
7 years
least
ago,
20,
right?
20 years, at least
Yeah,
20 years. Mhm.
yeah. Your children have been with me, so I mean,
Yeah.
it's a family affair now, right? All right,
Mhm.
and you're looking very well. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
I wish I could look that fresh at 7 o'clock in the evening. I had just got up from a nap, which I desperately needed. I tell you, yeah. All right. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I'm going to show you how to break that phrase down into its compartments. All sentences have compartments made up of words, sounds. Okay. The smallest thing you can break it into are what are called phonemes. That's the subject of my latest book, Salat, and I'm speaking on its phonemes. Okay. Now,
That's the same.
mhm. And now you won't have to write things down word for word because you're going to get you'll get the
the
recording.
phoneme, that's the sound of the letter.
Yes, the sound. And I'm glad you were able to make that distinction between the sound and the letter. The letter,
That's the glyph.
that's the glyph. See what I mean?
Yeah,
You've been here long enough. You know all of
learning.
this. But that's good because most people wouldn't know that. So you're teaching the audience now. Yes. The letter is the glyph. There's one other word for it. Do you know it?
That picture.
Yeah. But it's called a pictograph.
Oh, pictograph.
Yeah. Now you already know that L and R are interchangeable, right?
I have to work on the extra letters. I'm not.
That's where we're going. Not a problem. So I'm letting you know that the L and the R are interchangeable in all languages. So that's how glyph and graph can mean the same thing. Just interchange the L in glyph, take out the vowels, take out the Y and all that, and just interchange the L in glyph and replace it with an R, and you have the word graph. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So it's picture language, as you mentioned, okay? Pictograph means picture language. The graph is spelling out to you a particular concept. So the letter is the pictograph. If I draw a capital letter A, it's a pictograph, right? If I draw a capital letter B, it's a picture of something. But the phoneme, as you mentioned, is related to the sound, how that thing that you're looking at sounds when you pronounce it. And a phoneme is going to have more to do with the raw sound or the bare sound. There's two kinds of sounds. Now, there's the sound of a letter when you add a vowel, like B, you can hear the E vowel in that, right? But there's also the soul of the letter when I pronounce it just as, can you hear that?
I understand. That's the Arabic right there.
Yeah. I want you to say it back though. I want to hear you say it. Yeah, say it again. Yeah, exactly. Just take the vowel all of the way out of it and you have the raw, or what Imam Muhammad called the soul of the letter, minus any vowel attachment. All right. So that's what we mean when we say phoneme. So when we look at the phrase Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, let's start with the Bismillah, which some people also pronounce Bismillah. You may have heard it both ways in your lifetime. Some people say Bismillah with a lighter kind of vowel on the A, Bismillah, like at, that, cat. And then other people say, no, it's Bismillah, like father. That's the way the A vowel in Arabic is normally pronounced. They say that the exception to the rule is when Allah falls at the end of a word or after the word before it has taken on what's called a kesra. You might not know what I'm talking about. Maybe you do, but you might not. Right?
That's the vowel. It's
a vowel, right? But which vowel out of the three?
That's the U. Dama kasra, fata dama kasra.
What does kasra sound like? Okay, it's okay. I need to know what you don't know, so that we can learn those things. All right. Yeah. And it's no big deal that you don't know. Nobody teaches this on a regular basis, although it's very important to know. Yeah. All right, especially if you're reading, which I assume you are on some level. So the kesra is let me just give you the three vowels very quickly. I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. Like I just said in the word father. All right, that's the fatha. To open the mouth, fatha. Father, Allah. Say Father, Allah, right?
Allah.
Yeah. All right. Then you have the kesra, which is the I sound like in the word big, and hit. I. That's kesra. I. Right, right. Okay.
Now,
And then there's like input. Listen carefully. There's the sound, but we're talking short vowels now, not long vowels. So the dhamma vowel is just like put, could, those words, right? So there's I, right. Now, when you elongate them or make them longer in their sound, that's when the ah becomes ah, like that.
What does that look like when you write stuff?
It looks like a I wish I had to open up a page to show you this, but we'll do that next time. I'll remember next time. It looks like you have to have heard of these things. Yeah, it's okay. But you'd have to have heard of these things to know what I'm speaking about specifically. But there is what's called a dagger aleph. Aleph is just a straight stroke on top of the letter, right? And so that would be, like Allah, ba, just a straight stroke on top of the letter. Like I said, I'll give you the pictures of it at some other point. And but when you want to elongate it, the ah sound, the aleph, then you put a dagger aleph, which is a straight up and down line on top of the letter. You see it in the way that they have chosen to write the name Allah. When they say Allah, you're going to see just a regular stroke, short stroke on top of the first A in Allah. But when you get to the second syllable, La, Allah, you're going to see a dagger aleph on top of it. That's a straight up and down line. And it'll be over this little thing that looks like a W. It's called a shadda. It doubles the sound of that consonant. That's why Allah has to be given two L's, because it's doubling the consonant. I'm not going to waste a lot of time with it now because I need for you to see that.
Yeah, I have to go back to the Arabic. I study Arabic a little bit. I have to go back. I had some books in there. Look at.
You're further ahead than some people who are born speaking the language. All right. Now, then you have the elongated sound, the dhamma, and that's when it becomes ooh. Yeah. Alladina amanu. Yeah. Okay. A lot of technical stuff in there that we're not going to go over because it'll just fall out your head. I need to be showing it to you, and you need to be able to review it in that sense. So that'll be our next class, inshallah.
All right.
So remind me that we're going to be going over the vowels in detail in the next class, right? So suffice it to say for now that there is the small a, the small I, the small u. Ah, o. Give that back to me.
Ah, o.
Perfect. Then there are the long vowels. A, E, U. Oh man, this class is over. You know all of this stuff. Playing with me, waking me up out of my nap to teach you what you already know.
It's a refresher.
All right. I'm loving this. This is great. Okay, so that's important for another day. But when we say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, I learned something from Imam Muhammad on this phrase. He taught it to everybody, but I just happened to have my ears perk up when I heard this, and I began to go deeper into what he was saying, because Imam Muhammad, unbeknownst to many people who listened to him, he wasn't giving us extended information for the things he was giving to us. He told us, I'm just giving you hints and clues, and it's up to my real supporters to follow this logic to its logical conclusion. I'm paraphrasing him, but those are things he said. I'm just giving you hints and clues. He said, I don't have time to give you the whole picture. There's too much. He said, I'm carrying around 500 years worth of information. I can't give it to you in your lifetime or my lifetime.
Yeah.
So he said, those who are really diligent as students, they'll take up the ball and bounce it in and shoot it into the hoop after I'm gone, he said.
Mhm.
So I heard him when he said that, and that's what I chose to do. So he said that in the phrase Bismillah, that you should not pronounce Allah's name with the soft, the light, it's called the light A sound, ah.
Mhm.
He said that the only place where they give that pronunciation is when the word Allah follows a word, the end of which has a kesra. Now I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. The kesra is the it, remember?
Mhm.
Okay, so listen to this. Bismillah. Right. Bismi. You hear that me? That's the kesra. Say bismi.
Bismillah.
Right. That's the kesra at the end of that. Bismi.
Yeah.
Not bisma, not bismu, bismi. Got it?
Yeah.
And because Allah's name follows that, they say, then the rules change, they say. And you're supposed to pronounce Allah's name as Bismillah instead of Bismillah. Now, who made that up? We know in the Quran, theoretically speaking, that Allah never changes, right?
Mhm.
Allah is the same as he's always been and the same as he always will be, right? That's a
Yes.
question. Yeah. So why
Yeah.
would the pronunciation of his name change if he stays the same? How come his name doesn't stay the same? How come it can't stay? Bismillah. I'm going to tell you why. This is a well-known Chinese secret. Just change Chinese to Arab. I'll tell you
Mhm.
why. And you listeners out there in listener land, if you get a chance to see this will be wisdom in your pocket that you can walk around with and share. It's because, as I've said, and I'm sure you've heard me say it on a couple of occasions, because you're listening to each and every class, so this will be easy for you. The word Allah in the Quran is it's never given an elongated vowel such as Allah. It's never in the Quran given as Allah. That's the standard way they've taught us to pronounce Allah's name. Everywhere in the Quran, and I have checked each, and if anybody out there knows a place that I'm not familiar with that elongates the vowel ah in Allah, show it to me. And I will come online on YouTube, his tube, her tube, and I'll make the correction. But I already know that every single place in the Quran that mentions the name Allah, it mentions it with that short fatha vowel, that one beat. Ah, that's it. Allah, that's it. Not Allah, like we do in Allahu Akbar, Allah. No, it never does that. So if you're getting that, it's because some scholar or some trickster in the language gave it to us. If we're getting that, it's because people who were manipulating the language gave it to us, or people who were guessing, or it could have been people who were trying to show that they were smarter than Allah. Well, like he forgot to say it like this, so we're going to say it like that to remind everybody what Allah forgot. That's ridiculous, isn't it? So when we say Bismi, that Kesra, they say, means that you're supposed to pronounce the next word if it's Allah with an elongation, with a light A. Bismillah, Bismillah. They say Bismillah instead of Bismillah. But Imam Muhammad said, no, it stays Bismillah because one A is light. The one they're trying to get you to buy into is called a light sounding A. Bismillah,
That's suppression, like
Huh?
so that they try to suppress, like suppress it.
Yeah, yeah. How about that? Good word. But the one we're talking about is the heavy Allah. Now, if you had to just make a quick decision as to whether Allah, conceptually speaking, is light or heavy, which one would you choose?
Heavy.
That's right. Allah ain't no lightweight. Nothing in his name should be pronounced with a light, with a lightness. No, he's not this dainty God, just No, Lord, look at what he's what I'm telling you now is heavy.
Yeah.
And that's how the Quran opens up. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Um,
Now, so out of habit, I still say Bismillah. That's my habit. That's my tongue doing. It has a genetic memory for pronouncing it like that for 40 years already. Okay.
no.
But if we're to be totally correct, we should pronounce it as Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay.
Bismillah Rahman Rahim.
Take the light eye, take the,
Bismillah.
yeah, do
Bismillah. Bismillah.
Bismillah, like
Bismillah.
father.
Bismillah.
Yeah.
Bismillah.
Yes. Did the same A in Rahman. Bismillah. Rahman.
Bismillah.
Rahim. The same one.
Bismillah.
Father. Okay. Now let's talk about what that means.
Am I going to get a recording of this so I can go over this?
Am I recording it?
Am I going to be able to go over this so I can practice?
Yeah, you're going to get this about like half an hour after we finish.
Okay.
You'll have it tonight before you go to sleep.
Okay.
You can play it while you're going to sleep. Sink in. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Now, so what are we saying when we say Bismillah, but break it down into components? The first thing we're saying is Bi. That's it. In Bismillah, the first sound is Bi. The first phoneme, Bi. B-I.
Yeah.
Yeah, and really it's just the B. Okay? B. Okay, so what does the letter B or B mean? You get that far in numerics?
I think I know what BR means, but I'm trying to remember what B means.
Mm-hmm.
Belly. Belly, I think,
That's good.
no, something like that.
Yeah, that's one of the things it means. That's right.
Okay.
Good. Good.
All right.
It can mean belly. At times it can mean your bosom or your breast. See how all of these words, no matter English or Arabic, they start with B, the letter B, right? In Arabic, the word is butun. Butun. Okay. So the letter ba or bait means house or temple. Yeah. Okay. So what these sounds and letters are referring to is anything that can fill up, empty itself, and then be refilled. That's right. Be refilled. That's ba. That's bait. Your house does that. Your masjid or your church or your synagogue or your Shriners Hall, whatever you can go into, fill it up. Friday night, here we are. Friday, we're at Jummah. Sunday, we're at church. Saturday, we're in the synagogue for a few hours, right? And then we all leave and it's empty again. And then the next holiday or the next major day or the next worship day or whatever, we're back in there. Same thing with your physical house. You have your family members in there. Some of them will grow up. Some of them will get married. Some of them will have children of their own. And they might bring those children back into your house if they weren't quite ready for marriage, right? But the point is that the house fills up with your family members, and then slowly but surely, those family members empty out of the house. Some could die. That happens in everybody's family, right? Some could get divorced, and then the husband's not there anymore, or the wife leaves, or whatever, or the children could start leaving, getting married, homes of their own. And then, and then the grandchildren can start appearing, and then the house refills again. You said, man, I got more grandchildren here than I had children. Now, what's going on with that? This wasn't in my agreement. Take care of your children. Okay. So this is the whole act of filling up, emptying out, and refilling. Now, you're going to find that true for most of the words that you come across in the Quran that begin with the letter bait or ba. So,
Okay.
So we're explaining it now with the word bait, which is the letter, actually, that's actually the real letter that we're supposed to be pronouncing when we look at the Arabic alphabet. It's not just the ba, it's bait. How do we know it's a bait? Because all of the relatives or the sister languages, brother languages of Arabic, such as Aramaic and all the Shemitic languages, what they call the Afro-Asiatic languages, Hebrew, all of these languages that are directly connected to the region of the world where these languages appeared, their letter B in all of those alphabets, including Hebrew, their letter B means house or temple.
So what does basmala? I've heard that phrase, but basmala, is how you say it?
Very good question. The word basmala is just a way of expressing what we're talking about right now, the Bismillah. The Bismillah. When we say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, that's called the basmala.
The house of Allah, or the what?
That's what that's called, the basmala. Now, that word is not in the Quran. That's a word that the scholars gave us because of the phrase Bismillah. They said, well, let's tell people that you should pronounce the Bismillah as the basmala. You should just tell them that's what it's called, the basmala. We scholars need some credit here. Let's invent some stuff too. We want to look good in the eyes of the world. Not just Bismillah. It is the basmala, el basmala. So that's just the ingenuity at work. Nothing wrong with that. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be naming the things according to the Quran. Allah told Adam, name the things, right? So that's what we're doing. That's what the intellect
The
does.
basmala is the whole phrase. That's the whole phrase. Bismillah, Rahman Rahim. That's the whole thing. Is the basmala.
Yeah, it's called the basmala. If somebody said, recite to me the basmala, you would say, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay. And another important thing, I slow it down when I pronounce it on purpose so that I can separate the sounds.
I have to still get used to that.
Huh?
I have to get used to that father A, that high A, heavy A's. You have to get used to that.
Yeah, you have to get used to it.
That way.
Yeah, because we're not used to that.
Separate it out, then you are.
Yeah. Yeah, I told you I've been doing that for 40 years and I'm still not used to it because I was doing it for 40 years the other way. I still say Bismillah, some people say Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. You've heard that when they crunch it together, right? Bismillah, or they say Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. That's not correct. Because unless you say Bismillah ar-Rahman-ir-Rahim, ar-Rahman-ir-Rahim, it's a very subtle shift of letter pronunciations that make, when you say Ir-Rahim, it turns into Nir-Rahim. Bismillahir-Rahman. So that turns into Hir-Rahman, which is not a word. And the second part turns into Nir-Rahim. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. And the Nir would have to be connected to either the words Nur, which means light, or Nar, which means fire. Okay? And that's not what Allah is saying. He's not trying to tell you about light in the basmala, and he's definitely not trying to tell you that he's composed of fire as an attribute. Okay? All right. If I'm going too fast, you let me know.
Okay. I'll listen again.
You're an educator. I know you. Okay. All right. Let's move this train down the track. So again, I choose to use the heavy sounding ah in Allah's name in the Basmallah. Okay, when they say Bismillah, I don't say Bismillah anymore. I try to say Bismillah ar-Rahman, and then I separate it so I don't mistakenly say Nur or Nar Rahim or Nir Rahim. I say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I piece them apart and pronounce them separately. That's just me. That's not mandatory. That's just me. The rules of Tajweed would have you connect them. You know, they call it proper pronunciation. But I don't see anything in the Quran that's commanding me to use Tajweed. The word Tajweed actually is not even in the Quran.
Yeah.
Okay. So I appreciate scholarly contributions, but I don't have to follow them if it doesn't work for me, because Allah doesn't mandate that I pronounce certain things of that particular certain way.
But they have different dialects anyway, though.
There
So,
certainly are. I'm glad you pointed that out. That's right. At least 7 they speak about. Because people are from different parts of the world and their mouths have been trained to pronounce things different ways. It's really that simple. The Pakistani people, on the most part, there are certain letter sounds that they're not used to pronouncing. You see? So sometimes they'll pronounce what we would pronounce as a DH sound, and they'd pronounce it as an S or a Z sound. We say dhikr, and if I had to spell it, I'd spell it D-H-I-K-R, or maybe even T-H, dhikr, you know, T-H-I-K-R. But the Pakistani tongue will say zikr, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't make them wrong. They're right in their own logic and in how Allah has sculpted their tongue and teeth to pronounce the letters. If you know what it means and you know that those areas of the mouth can be shared, you know that you're saying you're in the same ballpark in terms of what you mean. I personally believe that people should practice to pronounce it in the way that is the best way for preserving the logic of the letters that they're using. So the DH is going to mean something different than the Z, the ZA. You see what I'm saying? Because the two letters, the Zal and the ZA, they have different meanings, although related meanings because they're being pronounced from the same part of the mouth. Okay? But the DH is a dental, and the ZA is a sibilant or a fricative. It's 2 different categories, but they're related like cousins are related. They're not siblings,
but they're related.
They're in the family, and they're supposed to look something alike. My cousins, some people mistake my cousins for my brothers and sisters. Say, y'all have to be brother and sister. No, well, y'all got the same eyes. Well, okay, because we cousins, you know. Her mother, his mother, my mother, you know, is my auntie or whatever, you know. So you're supposed to look something alike. And it's the same thing with letters. Letters are family groups. That's what they call in linguistics, family groups of letters. And they have children. Family groups have children. English, the way we speak it now, is not the way the original people of England spoke English. If you were to go back and get old English, you might not be able to pronounce those words, even though you speak English.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
There you go. There you go. We're back.
All right.
After that internet failure.
Okay. Thank you, Ameenah.
And keep good people down.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Alhamdulillah.
All right.
All right. So let's continue.
All right.
Inshallah.
So
What did I end up? What did I end off saying? What were we talking about?
So I answers the call of every caller, and so he asked now we should answer his call.
Yeah.
But they say maybe he won't answer your call now, maybe the next life, maybe, So I heard someone say he answered the call right away, but then I'm hearing, hearing different things, but I'm wondering what the Khan said about that.
Very good question. I'm going to answer that for you. And then in another video, I'm going to explain the bigger or wider meaning of that basmala we were talking about.
Okay.
Okay, so people who hear this, you just got to wait until I do another one that explains in detail all of the letters that are in the basmala or Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, so that people can have a working idea of what Allah is speaking to.
So you want to
Everything
do
that
that
Allah says in
first?
the Quran, He's speaking to a particular audience. No, it depends on how much time you got. I can go a little bit over time if you
I
want
got
to.
time. Yeah, I have time. I can do that. You can save your
Okay,
question for
so
that. You can finish, you can
I'll
finish,
say
finish.
just enough.
All right.
No, we're going to do this question about. Yeah, no,
Oh,
we're going to definitely do your main question.
okay.
I'm
What
just
will we
setting it up.
do?
This is like when you go to the movies and they have like the movie before the movie. Yeah, this is the movie before the movie, or the opening act. If you go to a nice concert, the group that you're really there to see, that's not the first group to come out. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then the main group come. But sometimes the first group to come out is better than the main group.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens. All right. So let's continue with the basmala.
Okay.
Now, the most important thing I want to say is concerning the letter ba or bait. Bait means
Mhm.
house. It means that which empties up and fills up, empties out, refills or replenishes, right?
Yeah.
And many of the words that are in the Quran that begin with the letter B, that begin with ba, is going to have to do with that process. And bait is one of those words because it begins with the ba sound, the B sound. That means that whatever bait is, it's something that empties up, that fills up, empties out, and refills. Just like your house, just like your masjid, like your synagogue, like your church, like your meeting place, like your gymnasium, anything that fills up, empties out, and then refills is under that letter. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, on the human body, it's even the testicles of the male because they fill up with life germ, they empty out, they expire, and then Allah replenishes. He fills it up again, right?
Mhm.
All right. Same thing with what's in the belly. You eat, you fill up the belly, you go
Come
to the
on up.
restroom, you get rid of most of what you don't need, and then you eat again, right? You fill it up
Mhm.
again. So
Yeah.
that's the ba at work. Okay.
Mhm.
Even birth. See the B in birth or born, being born. Okay. So a woman can get pregnant, as you know. Baby comes here, baby starts to grow, but she can get pregnant again. In what part of the body? The belly. What else is filling up and emptying out? The breasts of milk, breast milk, right? And then the baby sucks her dry, from breastfeeding. And then, presto chango, the next morning, she's got new milk, the breast refill. So that B is very important to understand in language, right? Okay.
Mhm.
Now, okay. Is there a way you can tilt your camera so that it's not cutting off your chin?
Oh, okay. I don't know what happened here.
Can your
You
daughter
mean
help
move
you with
the
that?
book
Yeah.
up? I need to put a book on your leg again.
Your daughter might have to read.
I had a book on your leg
It's just
before. I
you're on a
read the book.
laptop, right?
This is what's
Yeah, just something to lift like the
tablet.
go the other way now. Go the other way, right there. That's good right there. That's it. That's it. If you can hold it up there with something, that'll be good.
It's on a book.
You
Okay.
got a book or something you can slip under there?
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Okay.
Take your time and get a
Yep.
book.
No, no. All right. That's better.
That's perfect right there.
All right.
Mhm. Much better. But try not to move back because the further back you go, you get smaller.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you see the English word bed beginning with a B?
Mhm. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Your bed, it fills up when you go to bed at night. But in the morning, what happens?
Get out. Get back in.
Yeah, you get
Mhm.
up, you get out. Yeah, that's right. You empty the bed, right? Okay.
Mhm.
Same thing with a bottle. You know, anything that has that B connected to it is going to fill up, empty out, and refill. All right. Now, why is that important in the Basmala, in this phrase, Bismillah? Because of another connection in that letter, Ba. When a house, which as we said is called Bait, fills up with family members, those family members are growing up in the house. You got that much so far?
Mm-hmm.
All of your children, your husband, your children, maybe a couple of grandchildren, they're growing up in the house. So that letter B, Ba, Bait, also came to mean in something, being in something. Because when you fill something out, when you fill something up, it goes inside of that thing, right? So that's how the phrase came to be translated as in the name of Allah. In most translations, they still say in the name of God or in the name of Allah. Imam Muhammad came and he challenged the logic that he felt was actually detrimental to our understanding when we translate that as in the name of God, because it's psychologically connected to what we were saying for many years while we were in the church. We were saying in the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, in the name of the Holy Ghost, the Holy Spirit. So he wanted to make a psychological disconnect with that idea that would send us back into shirk. Okay. And he did it very elegantly.
Yeah, so that was really the only reason
So
why he did
he
that.
chose the,
Yeah, really was the only reason
that
why
was
he
the
did
main
that.
reason why he did that.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't the only reason, but it was the
Mm-hmm.
main reason. For some reason, there's a delay. There's a delay
Sound.
in your computer. No, I hear you, but I'm hearing you after you say
Yeah.
what you're saying. There's a delay in when I'm hearing you. And that's kind of messing me up a little
The
bit.
part of the
So
camera
you might
turning
have to
back.
go out and come back in real quick.